Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to tell a story that is so incredible you might think it is a lie. But it is true. It is the story of a boy who fooled the entire world. Imagine you are 16 years old. You are standing on a street in New York City. You have no money. You have no home. You have no friends. You are hungry and scared. Most people would cry or go back home. But Frank Abagnale Jr. was not most people. He looked at the skyscrapers and thought, I will not survive. I will thrive. Frank was born in 1948. He was a happy child, but his world fell apart when he was 16. His parents divorced. He had to choose live with his mom or his dad. He couldn't choose. It broke his heart. So he ran away. He took a train to New York City with only a few dollars in his pocket. But he quickly realized something important. In 1960s America, if you were young, people didn't respect you. If you were 16, you could only get a job washing dishes for minimum wage. Frank was tall. He had gray hair. He looked older than 16. So he decided to tell his first lie. He changed the date on his driver's license. Suddenly, he was not 16. He was 26. People started to call him Sir. He realized that the world believes what you tell them if you look confident. One day, he was walking past a hotel. He saw a group of pilots and flight attendants coming out. They were wearing beautiful, crisp uniforms. Everyone looked at them with admiration. People smiled at them. Police officers saluted them. Frank thought, that is it. I want people to look at me like that. He didn't want to be a pilot. He wanted to look like a pilot. He called Pan Am Airlines. He used a deep voice. Hello, this is a co-pilot from San Francisco. I lost my uniform. Where can I get a new one? The person on the phone told him where to go. Frank went to the tailor. He was nervous, but he acted calm. He got a uniform. He got a hat. He looked in the mirror. The 16-year-old runaway was gone. Standing there was a Pan Am first officer. This was the beginning of the Skyway Man. Now Frank looked like a pilot. But he had a problem. He didn't know how to fly a plane. He didn't know anything about airports. So he went to the library. He read books about airplanes. He learned the words pilots use: cockpit, fuselage, throttle. He learned that pilots could fly for free on other airlines. It is called deadheading. If a pilot needs to go to another city, he can sit in a small folding seat in the cockpit. Frank decided to try it. He walked into the TWA counter at the airport. His heart was beating like a drum. Boom, boom, boom. He showed his fake ID card. Hi, I need a lift to Miami, he said with a smile. The ticket agent didn't ask questions. She smiled back. Certainly, Captain. Fill out this form. He filled out the form. He got a pink ticket. He walked onto the plane. The captain of the plane shook his hand. Welcome aboard, Captain. Make yourself comfortable. Frank sat in the jump seat right behind the real pilots. He was terrified. He thought, what if they ask me technical questions? What if they ask me to fly? But the pilots just wanted to chat. Hey, how's the weather in New York? Did you see the game last night? Frank realized something amazing. Pilots are just people. They talk about life, girls, and sports. They didn't suspect him because he had the uniform. For the next 2 years, Frank flew everywhere. He went to Paris, Rome, London, and Tokyo. He stayed in expensive hotels for free. The airline paid for everything. He was living a millionaire's life. But he was lonely. He couldn't tell anyone his real name. He couldn't make real friends. Every Christmas, he was alone in a hotel room. He was the most famous pilot in the world, but nobody knew he was just a lonely teenager. After 2 years, Frank felt the police getting closer. He needed to disappear. He needed a new face. He moved to Georgia. On his rental application, he checked the box for doctor. He thought, doctors are respected, and they are quiet. He lived in a luxury apartment complex. One day, the manager knocked on his door. "Dr. Connors, we have a medical emergency. A child has a hurt leg." Frank panicked. He wasn't a doctor. He ran to the child. Thankfully, it was just a small scratch. He put a bandage on it and said, "He will be fine." Everyone clapped. "Oh, thank you, doctor. You are amazing." Frank became the resident doctor of the apartment. Then he got a job at a local hospital as a supervisor. He didn't treat patients. He just managed the interns. The interns were real doctors from medical school. They would come to him and say, "Dr. Connors, look at this X-ray. What do you think?" Frank had no idea. So he would nod his head wisely and say, "What do you think, Dr. Smith?" The intern would say, "Well, I think it is a broken bone." And Frank would say, "I agree. Excellent diagnosis." It was the perfect trick. He let them do the work, and he took the credit. But one day, a tragedy almost happened. A baby was brought in. The baby was turning blue. It couldn't breathe. The nurse shouted, "Doctor, do something, save the baby." Frank froze. He was just a kid. He didn't know what to do. He realized, I am playing a dangerous game. People could die because of me. He quit the job the next day. He moved to Louisiana. He needed a new challenge. He met a girl. She was a stewardess. He told her, "I am a lawyer. I went to Harvard." She said, "Oh, really? My father is a lawyer, too." He met her father. The father was the attorney general. "If you are a lawyer," the father said, "why don't you work for me?" Frank couldn't say no, but to work there, he had to pass the bar exam. The bar exam is the hardest test for lawyers. Most people study for years. Frank made a fake transcript from Harvard University, but he couldn't fake the test. He had to take it. He studied for 8 weeks. He memorized everything. He failed the first time. He failed the second time. But the third time, he passed. He didn't cheat on the test. He actually passed it. This showed his true genius. He wasn't just a liar, he was brilliant. Frank was now a pilot, a doctor, and a lawyer. But the FBI was chasing him. The agent's name was Joseph Shea in the movie. He's called Carl Hanratty. Joseph chased Frank for years. He respected Frank. He knew Frank was smart. Finally, Frank was caught in France. He was shopping for groceries when the French police surrounded him. "Don't move. Hands up." He was sent to a French prison. It was a nightmare. It was dark, cold, and dirty. He had no clothes, only a blanket. He spent 6 months there. It broke his spirit. He was then sent to Sweden and finally back to America. On the plane back to America, Frank made his most famous escape. The plane landed at JFK Airport in New York. It was night. Frank went to the bathroom. He unscrewed the toilet frame. He squeezed his body through the hole under the toilet. He dropped onto the tarmac. He ran across the runway in the dark. He escaped again. He went to his mother's house. He looked through the window. He saw his mother. She had a new life. She had a new family. He realized he didn't belong anywhere anymore. He was tired of running. The police arrived. This time, Frank didn't run. He surrendered. Frank went to prison in America. He was sentenced to 12 years, but after 5 years, something strange happened. The FBI came to visit him. They said, "Frank, we have a problem. There are too many people making fake checks. We can't catch them." Frank looked at the fake checks. "This is easy," he said. "Look at the ink. Look at the paper. It's a bad fake." The FBI asked, "Can you help us?" They made a deal. Frank could leave prison, but he had to work for the FBI. He had to teach them how to catch criminals like him. Frank agreed. He worked for the FBI for over 30 years. He paid back all the money he stole. He invented secure checks that are used by banks today. He became a good father and a loving husband. Frank Abagnale Jr. started as a lonely boy who wanted attention. He tried to find happiness by pretending to be someone else. He was a pilot, a doctor, and a lawyer. But in the end, the best role he ever played was himself. He taught us that it is never too late to change. You can make mistakes, terrible mistakes, and still do something good with your life. His story is a lesson you can't run away from yourself forever, but you can always run towards a better future. Thank you for listening to this incredible journey. I hope you enjoyed the story of the man who flew for free but paid a heavy price. See you in the next adventure.